The Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is time and timelessness. It's so odd, isn't it? How a day can feel like it's taking a year, and a year or years just fly by as if it was yesterday. So we're going to talk about that a bit today. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light, lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, the tickling and tingling when you stop. And allow all those sensations to bring you present, right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables us to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. Good morning, Rosalind. Welcome. So good to have you joining us this morning. And welcome to everyone else who's with us. So today we're speaking about time and timelessness, and or time and no time, even. I don't know if you experience this. I'm guessing that you probably do, where a day can feel like a month or a year, like you're just plodding through the day. I remember days like that when I was in school, and it just felt like the day would never ever end. And then we can look back on years, and it's as if they disappeared in a blink of an eye. Time and no time sounds good. Welcome, Van Millie. Wonderful to have you joining us. So this experience, what's it like for you to have this experience of time going very, very slowly, the relativity of time, right? Time going very, very slowly, and also time going very, very fast, like where we might even get immersed in something and hours have disappeared and we don't know where they've gone. Just where we step into this dimension of timelessness. And this came up for me because yesterday, and I don't know if you've ever done this, I'm curious to know if you have. Yesterday, I had looked into reconnecting with a friend from years and years and years ago. And I finally reached out yesterday, and the person responded, and we had a phone call, and it was like no time had passed. And I cringe to say it, but it's been more than 40 years, to be in a position to say it's more than 40 years since we had seen each other. That kind of is super cringeworthy, but it was amazing to reconnect and to realize it, that it felt like yesterday. It felt like no time had gone between us. And yet we've had very full, long lives in between. It's just remarkable. So I'm wondering, have you had an experience like that? And how do you reconcile it? Isn't it interesting that um, all kinds of years could have passed and yet no time? And it just feels like yesterday. Like, where did that time go? To be able to say it's been 40 years since is just kind of an insane concept, even to realize, as we look back at our lives, to realize how much time has passed. And yet in certain ways, yes, we've changed, and life has left its mark, and we've become whoever we've become, and yet there are aspects of ourselves that are timeless. And so I'm wanting to explore together these timeless aspects of ourselves, like who we are, who, like the essence of our being that doesn't change. I mean, I don't know, for the longest time, I felt like I was sort of, I was going to say stuck, but that's not really the right descriptor, but that I was relating to a particular age. So I'm wondering for you if there's an age you identify with. I don't know that there is anymore for me, but I don't identify with my current age. When I look at my current age, it's like, I don't know who that is. And I'm wondering if you have that experience, that there are parts of ourselves that just have remained constant. What's it like for you? Um do you have a particular age that you relate to? Like, I think for years it was 35 for me. I don't know why. I don't know what was with 35. And before that it was, I guess, 20s, and some age in the 20s, and then 15 was around for a long time. I Do you have any particular ages or years that seem to suspend time for you? What is that? What is that? Isn't it fascinating to note the passage of time? I mean, we can see it in our faces, we can see it in our bodies, but our spirit, I don't know about you, but it feels ageless. It feels untouched by time in its way. Rosalind says forever 40. I hear you. I hear you. And Van Millie says, I think most people feel that way because memories are stored in our minds. Well, I think, it's interesting. Memories, it's, I don't know exactly where memories are stored, because what I am aware of is that memories are also stored in our bodies. I don't know if you've had an experience where you've been doing some body work, for example, and this memory just comes out of nowhere, or this flood of emotion comes, when a certain point in your body is touched or released. It's interesting. I do believe that we restore memories in our bodies as well, because in the work that I do with the core connection work, with my clients, when they have and they're remembering something, they have an emotion, and I'll say, well, where is that emotion in your body? And they typically can identify it. And then we say, okay, so what's the sensation? And as we interact with that sensation, that bodily sensation, then it dissipates and it transforms. So Van Millie says, I would say the mind controls the body, and I would challenge that. And here's a really amazing example. Actually, this blew my mind, frankly. Um, a friend of mine's daughter was having extreme compulsive behavior, was self-harming, and having a lot of very negative ideation. And what happened was, what turned out to be going on is that she had a bunch of viruses related to Lyme disease. And as these things were kicked out of her system, that all those behaviors went away. So is the mind controlling the body? Is the body controlling the mind? What is the mind even? Is a really great question to be looking at. So our consciousness is very, and our awareness, our sense of being, our emotions are very much impacted by our physiology, and we can impact our physiology with our minds. So it's not as separable as we might like to make it. Thanks. Van Millie says, nice example. Crazy example, right? Like, who knew that a virus or a sequence of viruses could have that kind of impact? It's kind of horrifying. And maybe it's also inspiring and hopeful, because if we can find those things, if we can identify those viruses, for example, then perhaps we can heal them. And so, very interesting, this body mind thing. But let's get back to time. Do you experience the situation where it feels like, where did the time go? Where did the years go? Where, where did all those life experiences go? It's almost as if I it's almost as if it plays out like a movie, and the like in a movie you can see eons, right, in the space of a couple hours. You can see whole lives play out in the space of a couple hours, and have the richness of that experience. And it's sort of like that in our lives, at least looking at when we're living our lives. We have experiences maybe of the hours passing, but how do we I don't know, it's almost like we're surfing through it somehow. I'm kind of awed by it in this moment. So Van Millie says, slept in 2019 and woke up in 2024. Looks like time is moving faster of recent. It's interesting that you say that. Well, I'm wondering what happened in 2019 and what happened in 2024, like that you went to sleep and that you woke up. But I tend to agree with you that it feels like time is moving faster. They say that time is moving faster as you get older, and I can understand that, if by looking at it rationally, in that as we get older, each minute is a smaller fraction of our total lives. So in a relative way, I can understand why it would feel like it's moving faster. But overall, it just feels like it's moving faster. There's so much happening. It does feel like an acceleration, to me, and to bunches of people that I've spoken with, and apparently to you too, Van Millie. What is this thing we call time? Because it's like we're riding this thing and it's showing up in our bodies, but somehow not showing up in our being. And I guess what I'm maybe getting to is that there is a constancy of being, even though we may grow and evolve and gain insights, and over time the essence that is experiencing all those things stays pretty constant. And I look back and I look at my age and I'm flabbergasted. I have no relationship to it at all. At all. I remember I could not wait. I could not wait to turn 16 so I could drive. That was like where I got my wings. Van Millie says, we need to research this science probably. Earth's moving faster as the world ages. Maybe. It may be that Earth is moving faster. That's an interesting concept. I don't have any idea about that. But I lost my train of thought. We're talking about age and having no connection to it. Oh, I remember. So I could not wait until I turned 16 because that meant that I would be able to drive, and that was my wings. Thank you, Van Millie. Van Millie's helping me here. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's like squirrel, where go off in another direction. I forgot. And then I couldn't wait till I was 21, so that I could legally drink. Actually, at that time, that was a big deal, and be a legal adult. And it was like pushing the river, to one time to go by, to just get through this part of life, to get to the next phase. And I think that so many of us live our lives that way, where we're trying to just get through this piece, to just get to the other side of it. I was talking to somebody yesterday who's in a graduate program and kind of hating it and just pushing through to get to the other side of it. And I think we tend to try to get through life. And the truth is, there is no getting through it. We all end up dying, right? And so even in the tough spots, what if we could allow ourselves to be as present as possible in those moments? So in presence, when we are in presence, when we are engaged in our lives and not resisting it, and kind of flowing with life, then time, we're kind of outside of time, even though it may show up in our body and being, not our being, our bodies. Maybe it shows up in our wisdom, hopefully, right? But I don't know that that's a fixed equation, that time equals wisdom. I don't know that that's at all the case. I think there's a will and intentionality that builds wisdom also. Anyway, I find this whole time thing quite fascinating, because somehow there is this ageless part of us. And I wonder, as we as we connect to that agelessness, to the part of ourselves that animates us, whatever that is, that at least in our consciousness, we can transcend time. I'm wondering, what is time to you? You know, we live our lives by it, right? We live our lives by our calendars and our clocks in so many ways, and by the sun setting and the sun rising and the seasons changing. And we live like we have all the time in the world. And in a way we do. Um, it's I think what just popped in my head was the saying about time being a taskmaster. But so Van Millie says, I think we focus on things that don't really matter and realize when it's too late. Yeah, I think that that's really true, that we spend all kinds of time and energy, equally, if not more important, focusing on things that don't matter, focusing on even what we do in our lives, you know, that we put all this time and attention in things that aren't fulfilling, that aren't enriching us, that aren't enriching the world. Lots of time on worry and anger and negative emotions that actually chew us up inside. When why spend the energy with that stuff? Why get ourselves all worked up over things that ultimately don't matter? And I guess we get to look at, well, what really matters? And that's the important thing. It's interesting, because talking about time, I'm thinking lately, thinking about my age and thinking, well, I've got most likely less than 30 years remaining. And this last number of years just flew by. What does it look like? What do I want to do with that time, with that remaining time? Like, when we actually look at our mortality, however old you are, or however young you are, and I don't know when it changes from young to old. I think that's a mental maneuver. But whatever your age, what do we choose to do with our lives that is enriching and fulfilling and enlivening, that honors this tremendous gift that we have of time and experience? Good morning, Sue. So wonderful to have you here. Sue, by the way, is one of the behind the scenes magicians who helps keep, or who keeps, Enlightened World Network going. So much gratitude for you, Sue, and for Dido. It's wonderful to, and for Ruth Anderson, of course. This is Enlightened World Network is Ruth Anderson's, I want to say brainchild, but it's really her heart and soul child. So these three women are just remarkable in what they're making available to all of us. So much gratitude. Rosalind says, the core connection half hour goes by so fast. Thank you for these morning musings. Rosalind, thank you for being my partner in crime here. It's always wonderful to know that you're here and sharing in this. It's really a blessing and a gift. So I'm just feeling lots of gratitude to everything, to life, to Enlightened World Network, to you all. It's to this beautiful, beautiful planet that we get to inhabit. So use your time well. So, and until next time, so much love to you. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to like and share and follow Enlightened World Network and me. The links are in the description, and such delight to be with you. Until next time.